What up, Stamp Gang? This is Sade of Sade No Days Off. Welcome back to the channel. Happy Sunday. Happy Self Sunday. Welcome back for another short lesson. When you are spring cleaning, you go through drawers and closets and you are pretty much either changing out your closet. I do that, I did that much more when I was living in a cold climate city where I actually needed winter clothes. I don't so much need my winter clothes very often in Texas, but I would switch out my closets twice a year. So when it got warm and when it got cold, and when I did that, I also took an opportunity to go through my closets and clean out the things that I don't wear anymore. So I still do that a few times a year where I go through my closets and clean out things that don't fit anymore, that I don't wear anymore, that don't fit the aesthetic that I am building at the moment. Because some things you buy in a moment and you wear them for a little while and then you grow out of them mentally and emotionally. So you need to do the same thing with yourself. Today's inspiration comes from the Bible, and we're in the book of Psalms, and we're at the end of Psalms 139. We're in verses 23 and 24. So Psalms 139, 23 and 24 says, "Search me, O God, and know my heart. Try me and know my thoughts, and see if there be any wicked way in me, and lead me in the way everlasting." As we continue to think about cleaning and cleaning ourselves, especially like our self-care, our wellness, you have to declutter. In the same way that you would declutter your drawers and your closets, you need to declutter yourself. And I love Psalms 139 in general. It's one of my favorite Psalms because it goes through this whole thing about, God knowing me intimately and being everywhere I am, and that there's nowhere that I can't get from God. But at the end, David says, search me, look into me, look at all the things that, give me pause, look at my anxieties. And if there are things that do not jive well, lead me away from those. Show me the way to be better. And we have to do that for ourselves. We have to take inventory of where we are. And I do that frequently as somebody that's really introspective. I think about where I am in a given point and ask myself, am I who I want to be in this moment? Are there things that I feel like are holding me back from being the best I can be in this moment? And I did that quite a bit this week. I sat down. Actually, I've been doing it for the last few weeks, sitting down and really allowing myself to go deeply and ask the hard questions about, well, who am I now? And is that who I am trying to be? And what things do I think are keeping me from being who I see myself being? So for me, one of those things is fear and worry. And I do have anxiety about the future, about the projects that I'm doing, about my dissertation, about my relationships. And those things hinder me from being the best I can. They don't fit who I'm trying to be. And you do that as well with relationships. You ask yourself, are the friendships that you are agonizing over, do they still fit who you are? And there are many times that, we have relationships that are relationships of convenience, or we feel like they offer us some comfort, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they are the best thing for us. And we know they're not, but they're comfortable. And sometimes we get complacent in comfort. And you have to really look at those things and ask yourself whether they still fit who you are. And if they don't, it's time to clear that away. It's time to work towards getting rid of the things that are weighing you down. And we take on a lot of emotional clutter. It's so easy to do in relationships from day to day with daily worries, anxieties, projects we're taking on, life happening. And you have to stop and take an inventory of all of those things, and the things that don't still fit where you want to be or who you are becoming. You got to let those things go. And by doing that, you release yourself from that weight, and you make more space for good things. You make more space to be able to think and focus on the things that you need to be focusing on, and on yourself and who you want to become. Because it's so important that if you have a vision for something, you have to think about how that lines up with who you are, and how you move yourself into position of balance. And that's ultimately what you want to do. You want to balance the things that you're interested in doing with who you are as a person. Because if you feel called towards something, deep down, it's part of who you are in your essence. And you want to make sure you're bringing those things forward and allowing yourself to live a more authentic life and being a more authentic self. So you have to really dig deep. You have to search. If you believe in God, you have to ask God to help you search yourself, to take time to be quiet, to sit in silence and allow yourself to just go deep. And I'm not gonna lie, it's not easy. I sat and cried a lot as I wrote down and thought about the things that are holding me back and holding me down. But once I did that, I felt freed to leave those things where I wrote them instead of taking them back up. We don't want to take that baggage back up with us. We want to put it down and leave it there because we need the room. And I feel like as we declutter ourselves, as we clear our own clutter, we're doing so to make space to do the things that we want to do. Even if it's just being less stressed out, if it's being able to think more clearly, if it's being able to be more creative or be more free, feel more free in our movements, and being ourselves fully and more authentically, then it requires us to examine our closet, examine our insides and our clutter and the things that we have not touched. I was thinking about, experiences that made me who I am today. And, just letting myself sort of tumble down that rabbit hole and think about all of these things came up, like these experiences that I had that shaped me both positively and negatively. And I had to be honest about how they affected me negatively. And these were things I had not ever thought about. Like, I was cognizant of the experiences, but I had not thought about the ways that they affected how I am formed as a person. So I encourage you this week to start decluttering your insides. Sit down and take inventory and be real honest with yourself about things that affect you negatively. If it's fear, if it's a relationship, if it's, something that you're holding on to that you shouldn't be holding on to, if it is unforgiveness like we talked about last week, be real honest about those things and start thinking about how you can remove those things for your life. Give yourself an opportunity to make space, because we ultimately are making space for our best, what is going to be toward our best and highest good. So I encourage you to start looking at those things. Let me know in the comments if there are things that you know you're struggling with, because I'm struggling with a lot. And if nothing else, I am present with you through the camera, through, this space. I am present with you because you're not alone in going through these processes. You're not weird for doing this hard work, because at the end of the day, you can't be your best for anybody else until you're your best for yourself. As always, friends, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend about the channel. Oh, and if you have not entered my giveaway, I am going to put that information up here in an info box or in the description box. make sure you go watch that video and thumbs up, get in those comments so you can enter the giveaway. I hope you have a great week.